Guys and gals and pals, if that video didn't inspire you, I don't know what would. The Arctic Ocean itself would melt before our very eyes if it experienced what we just watched. There is no doubt. This star-studded and exclusive tournament rolls on, so feel free to shout as we go all out, as tonight features quite the bout. Positivity, everyone. I've dubbed it competitive camaraderie. We educate. We entertain. I've dubbed it edutainment. Indeed, this network does it right. I don't do controversy. I do conversation on this station. And for the duration of this program, it's okay to accept the perspiration. Because it's getting hot and heavy in this tournament. 16 Hall of Famers and 19 award winners / nominees have already competed in this one-of-a-kind event. They give it their all, 100%, as they all yearn to ascent, as their success stories epitomize the fact that they never relent. So right here in the present, who will come up victorious and feel content? With 151 consecutive live broadcasts, each and every broadcast that covers every genre imaginable, this is quite the treat. I do this with love because, as I say, the sweat is the sweet. What does that mean? It means that your love must never remain idle. Work, roll up your sleeves, stay consistent, give back, be kind, and don't ever allow your dreams to oversleep. When you stay true to your word and help brighten someone's day, talk is never cheap. With over 60-plus talk shows featuring luminaries from all walks of life, this network has it all. Men and women who are legends that love their vocation, they always stand tall. These words are expressions from the heart, no different than the works of the bard himself, Mr. Shakespeare. So with that, let's end these rhymes and kick it into high gear with $13,000, a trip for 2 to Greece, and the right to be dubbed Mr., Mrs., or Miss TKN. There is a lot at stake. With over 60 competitors in this star-studded tournament, this virtual arena is meant to quake. They come from all over, award winners, champions, Hall of Famers, legends, and those from the green room. Innovation is the name of this game as art, and our intent is far more rewarding than fame. Only one will win it all. So far, the 21st, guys and gals, consecutive Saturday, this tournament, round number 1, has been kicking. So let's get ready for another star-studded match where 1 will be eliminated and 2 will stay. Our first competitor is a man that was born in Little Rock, Arkansas, but grew up in Atlanta, GA. He grew up around music and the arts. Makes perfect sense as he has taken many a blank canvas and filled it up with beautiful works of art. My mentor and dearly departed friend Richard Donner directed The Goonies, a film that inspired this artist to give storytelling as a career a start. He was nominated for an Emmy for the outstanding film I Know My First Name is Steven. He's a winner. It's obvious since Parker Lewis can't lose. Heck, he never even broke even. He's a class act, down to earth, genuine and incredible human being. I know all of you have been hearing, so let's start seeing. I see him backstage. He's ready to have a good time, but he definitely wants to win. So put your hands together for a friend and an amazing man. Last name Nemec, first name Corin. Welcome to the Celebrity Grand Debate Tournament, my friend.
What's happening, brother? I'm just in here doing mental push-ups, ready to do a psychological body slam on somebody.
You are here to win the pride and the prize. I mean, we're talking 13 grand, trip for 2 to Greece, but also competing against the very best from film, TV, sports, theater, pro wrestling, MMA, everywhere across the world. All the legends are here. You're here to win the whole tournament.
I am. And when you say Greece, you're talking about the musical, right? We're going to see an off-Broadway version of Greece somewhere in Hoboken.
I think we've done that already, man. No, we already did Greece. Oh. Now you get a chance to go to the Mediterranean and enjoy. But we don't know who the mystery competitors are. I do. Of course, our viewers don't. Man, oh, man, it's going to be one heck of a night. Corin, before I bring in the next competitor again, I got to say, man, you are a down-to-earth, great human being. Your body of work speaks for itself. Now, again, with all of these amazing topics, the thing I think that's interesting about this is that you are going to explore a lot of different areas that our viewers are going to love as well. We've got judges in the back. Are you the type to rebut? Am I going to see that index finger, do you think? Are you going to rebut somebody?
I mean, if there's something that I think is deserving of rebuttal.
I like it. I like it, guys and gals. This is going to be one heck of a match. Corin is one hell of a human being. Guys and gals, our next competitor is a man that is also very inspiring, as evidenced by his glowing light. I love his quote, which reminds us that it's never too late to get it right. We thank, guys and gals, we thank Al Jolson and Gene Kelly as their performances inspired him to get it right. As a co-star on Happy Days, one of the biggest TV shows of all time, we watched and definitely always smiled. He was nominated for Golden Globes for supporting actor in 1983. The man is an accomplished director and writer. His work has always given us plenty of glee. He survived colon cancer, and we're all better for it. An absolute blessing. So yes, let me introduce him so some of you can stop guessing. He too is ready to have a blast, but definitely wants to win. So let's welcome a humble, talented, kind human being. Last name Williams, first name Anson. Welcome to the green room in the TK Celebrity Grand Debut Tournament, my friend.
I'm here. Thank you.
Yes, you are, my friend.
Yes,
Anson Williams, I'm so happy you're here, my friend. Would you concur with Corin? You're here to win the entire thing?
You know, winning is really important. You know, winning is great. It's pretty competitive. But you know what's even greater is inspiring. And bro, that's what you do with this show. You know, through our stories, hopefully our life experience, you know, will help the audience with their lives. If I can do that, and that makes me win, that's a double win, man. I'm here to inspire.
I'm so happy, man, because you have one heck of a story. And guys, when it comes to Corin, when it comes to Anson, I'll be talking to them, of course, after the weekend. You might get some news beyond this tournament. Who knows? You've got one hell of a story. One of our competitors might be having a tech issue. I'm going to go backstage, call him, and make sure that he's back on. I don't see him on right now. I'll bring Corin in for a moment. If you guys can have a conversation for a couple minutes, I would really appreciate it.
Sure.
Hey, what's happening,
bro?
Anson?
I'm such a fan of yours, man.
Oh,
you know,
thank you so much.
Here we are, right?
You know, it's a very small world these days, especially with the internet.
Yes. Now, where are you living in this country now?
I'm currently down in Florida, outside of Tampa, the Tampa Bay area. You know, St. Pete area. It's very lovely over here. I like the salt life. You know, the beach life and the salt life. Even though I don't go to the beach all the time, but you know, that's kind of what I enjoyed about living on the West Coast when I was out in LA. Was going to the beach, or at least having the option to go to the beach. You know, so that was it's something that I really enjoy about living out here. Where are you at now?
I'm in Ojai, California. You know, just above Ventura.
Okay.
It's a city. It's 1913, and nothing's changed. You know.
Yeah.
It's like everything slows down. But you know, I was in Florida for quite a while. I was directing a show, Sequest, years ago, and we spent a lot of time in St. Pete's, Fort DeSoto. You know. It was what a beautiful area that was.
It is.
Yeah, but I hear a lot has changed.
You're welcome back anytime.
Thank you. I heard a lot has changed these days. I think it depends.
I only judge things by my immediate surroundings, and you know, if it's safe enough for me to leave my car door unlocked at Publix while I go in for 45 minutes, I'm happy with how they're running the show in my area. So you know, I got no arguments, you know, about how things are run down here in terms of where I'm living.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What I loved about Florida, it was so, I mean, it was all water, meaning it was just so easy to go on the ocean. Wet bikes, this, that, everything. It was just so easy. It was no big deal. It was there if you want it, not there if you want it. It was just such a part of your life. And I love that.
And the temperature isn't too shabby either. When you know, it's like the Pacific Ocean,
water temperature.
Yeah, it's freezing over in the Pacific Ocean. You jump in there, it's like 82 degrees. You know, it's it's lovely.
I know. We used to like get this one friend had wet bikes, and we'd be in St. Pete's or Clearwater, and we'd get on the wet bikes and then spin around to the beach area, St. Pete's beach area. Yeah, and they have a little compartment, you know, the back of the wet bike. So you put a shirt in and stuff, and you just park it up on the beach, put on your shirt, and go eat. You know, you're done. Get back on the wet bike, go back to Clearwater, park your bike. I mean, it was incredible. You know,
it is really cool. To be honest, I am surprised, even not just this area, but other areas where you know that there's not more water taxis that kind of service between different ports, you know, because water taxis, they take a while. The reason why I liked them was in Vancouver, there was a great water taxi that serviced Vancouver across, you know, the little Bay Area and stuff there to the other side, and I used it all the time. So I always have a soft spot in my heart for water taxis.
You know, guys, I want to say this because our friend who's in the back, we saw him before the show began, so we know who it is. Corin knows who it is. Guys, we're going to introduce him in a moment. We're not going to let you know who it is. He's trying to sign back in. This stuff is live. It doesn't happen often, but sometimes it does. He's going to try to sign back in.
I have to interrupt, by the way.
Please.
Now you owe us money. We just hosted the show, okay?
Yes. That's what I was doing. I was sending the PayPal right now.
Contract.
PayPal. Is PayPal okay or is Cash App? You told me you were Cash App guy.
Actually, we're a spinoff, okay? I think we're a spinoff show now.
This is a spinoff now. Well, you know what? Hold on, because before our friend pops back in.
We don't need you anymore. Come on.
I'll tell you what.
I already voted.
I don't want to be the third wheel, so let's bring somebody else in. Hold on. Let's bring somebody else in until our third participant enters this virtual arena. Let's bring someone who knows Corin. By the way, he'll be a special judge as well. Guys, do I have to fill you in? Maybe not.
Yes.
This is a great human being. Last name London, first name Jason. Jason, welcome.
Mr.
What's up, buddy?
Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh, yes, from our Dixie Beards.
How are you guys doing? It's a pleasure to meet you, sir.
Yes, nice great to meet you as well, my friend.
We're doing good, man. How you guys doing? Last time I saw him was at his wedding in his pink wedding suit, which was fantastic.
Yeah, I wanted to look like a 60s lounge Vegas lounge singer.
Oh, it was sharp. Oh, it was awesome, man.
Thank you.
It was great.
Yeah, that was a good time.
Okay, Anson, are you in Central California? You're in Central Time?
I'm actually in Florida too. I live about an hour and a half away from Corky there.
I love all the comments here. Jason London, everyone's reading Jason over here. Guys, I want to say this too. Jason London, I'm going to put you backstage momentarily, but he's in round 2. He advanced, guys and gals. He and his brother Jeremy are both in round number 2.
It was cool. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I had my sort of like my Michael Schumacher moment of coming around the bend and winning at the last second. So it was awesome.
Man, that last topic, Jason, honestly, man, you touched us, guys and gals. And of course, we're here live. Jason's going to be one heck of a judge. I'm going to put him backstage momentarily. And guys, we're going to start things off. When our third competitor comes in, maybe you'll have time to come in right before the first topic is finished. So we'll start off with Corin and Anson. So guys, uplifting news headlines. These shocking and uplifting news headlines summarize but a few of the major historic events that have occurred since newspapers became popular and accessible to people worldwide. Extraordinary headlines such as these are incredibly powerful, thanks in large part to their brevity. In just a few short words, each conveys a message of history, changing significance to a potentially huge audience. Reading these headlines today, we're emotionally transported back to how we felt when we first heard these news or heard of them from others we love. These headlines offered hope and epitomized the overcoming of adversity. So guys and gals, Anson Williams will make a case for the VE Day It's All Over headline that appeared on May 8th, 1945 as the most uplifting news headline ever printed. When he is finished, Mr. Corin Nemec will make a case for the first footstep headline that appeared on July 21st, 1969, referencing the moon landing as the most uplifting news headline ever printed. Guys and gals, again, when Anson is making his case, the only time Corin can interrupt is by rebutting index finger, and I will pop in. Of course, guys and gals, that can happen once during each topic. Mr. Anson Williams, are you ready to make your case?
Yes, let me hear it.
Well, you have your topic. It is VE Day. It's all over. That is the news headline. So, guys and gals, Anson will make his case uninterrupted in a 3, in a 2, in a U.
Okay, well, my case is very personal. I wouldn't be here if that headline hadn't appeared. My father was a World War II hero. He had 2 Purple Hearts. He helped liberate Paris. He was D-Day. Battled the Bulge, liberated Paris, and won concentration camp. And it was very funny because he was in this group that wasn't supposed to be first off on D-Day. They were supposed to get everything done, everything blown up or whatever to make it safe. But as they were coming up to go in line, they hit a rock and the boat was sinking. So they had to be first off. And it was pretty traumatic. He made it. He lost his unit. I mean, a lot of people died, but also he didn't know where they were. It took him days to find what was left again. And he spent 2 years. He spent his 21st birthday in a trench. He was wounded twice. And at the end, after the German surrender, he was going to Japan, and he thought that was it. He was dead. He was just exhausted. He was tired of war. He was tired of death. He was tired of just the lack of humanity. He has had it. He said, Anson, if I would have gone to Japan, you wouldn't be here. I'd be dead. And that's when Truman decided to drop that atom bomb. And a lot of controversy there. But because of that, at the end of the war, it brought my dad home. He met my mom, and I'm here. So that headline means a hell of a lot.
Yeah, I mean, there's no arguing the impact of D-Day and what it had on on the world, of course. And I would never argue against the impact that event had both then and now. I think the unfortunate difference, between that and let's say the men on the walk on the moon landing is, unfortunately, it was a celebration of, like he was saying, of like Anson was saying, a terrible, tragic experience for all of these young men, and then the terrible experiences of those that were kept behind enemy lines and concentration camps and all of that. So there's no doubt that the headline is impactful, but the sad part about it for me is just that it has an impact that unfortunately, in a way, is celebrating the dynamic destruction of humankind as it goes against one another in the violent impact of ideals, which is where war really begins, is the clashing of ideals. But that's the only rebuttal that I had on that, before I do my own. But yeah,
and before we kick it over to Corin again, Anson, please.
I totally agree, Corin, about the insaneness of the war. But the one thing about that headline, and boy, I'm against war. My dad actually, through the years, became such an activist against war because he was so involved in war. And at a young age, he saw too many deaths and unfair destruction and all that. Yeah. What that headline did, it stopped 1 million GI soldiers from getting killed. Yeah. So it's war's wrong. The whole thing is, but it did stop further tragedy. Yeah. And again, I get to hopefully I'm here saying hi.
Yeah. No, for sure. I'll just on that note, though, I mean, unfortunately, with the war machine and the military-industrial complex as we know it, it didn't take long to get into Korea and then Vietnam.
You bet.
And then the Middle East.
We're together on that.
So,
guys and gals, that was Anson Williams' topic. Mr. Corin Nemec, guys and gals, will right now make a case. We're talking again about news headlines that were definitely positive, definitely uplifting. Corin will make a case for the first footstep headline that appeared on July 21st, 1969, referencing the moon landing as the most uplifting news headline ever printed. Corin, if you're ready, my friend, in a 3, in a 2, in a U.
Yes, I just got back from a little time travel myself and brought this actual New York Times article and magazine newspaper back from that time period. But I think that the impact overall that it has was one that was so psychologically explosive that we still feel the impact of it to this very day. It's almost as impactful as War of the Worlds was when Orson Welles convinced people that there was an alien invasion actually happening on a radio show. But with the landing on the moon, the idea of that, especially during the time period of the height of the information war that was going on with Russia and the Cold War and this technological war that was happening and the space race and all of that. The impact that it had globally was putting America at the very, very top notch of human exceptionalism. and that at a time period when, you know, the Vietnam War had been droning on for 9 years, and we'd already gotten out of Korea, like I mentioned before, and there was a lot of, you know, things happening within the culture back home. You know, the good news of that achievement, that advancement, what was probably lifted the spirits of humanity up more during the time when the cultural revolutions were really ripping the fabric of America apart, and other areas of the world. It was something that everybody could agree on, that was truly miraculous, that was a step forward to a possible future when there was no more D-Days. And and now we're here knocking on the door again of another world war, which is quite frightening. You know, you think that having landed on the moon in 1969, that we could have learned how to progress as human beings to be able to communicate our differences in such a way that going to war is nonsense whatsoever. So I think that the psychological impact of Men Walk on the Moon and all of that had a much greater impact internationally and overall, in terms of uplifting people to maybe a kind of a possible new age of life without war. You know, that where we could actually live as one. You know,
Guys and gals, Anson Williams, please.
Well, I so agree with Corin. I really do. And I remember that moment. I'm sure you do too, Corin. I
was born a couple of years later.
You just embarrassed me that I was alive at that time. Thank you very much. Anyway, but honestly, one brief shining moment, the whole world stopped, and we're breathless. We're breathless, and you look at that event, and it was such a joint emotion of communists, Buddhists, Jewish, Christian. It was like they were above all that and into what we can do as human beings, what we created. And for one brief shining moment, it was perfect. Didn't last very long.
No, it didn't. We can see what happened with the Nixon administration after that win.
Yes.
Well, dare I say there was zero leadership, which is why many people, I used to tell my students when I taught history, maybe that's why Jimmy Carter, for some people, maybe came in at the right time, simply because whether you were a fan of his ideologies or not, I am not going to talk politics, but what I'll say is there was no leadership prior to Carter, and they felt as if the country did. They needed one of their own, someone they could relate to. We know JFK got assassinated, despite being warned by Eisenhower, of course, about the military-industrial complex. We know what happened, of course, after that. LBJ did not want to run again in 68, even though people thought he would. We know what happened, of course, with Nixon and Watergate. There was no leadership. And all of this stuff is happening. All of this amazing stuff is happening before our very eyes. Guys, another incredible thing's happening before my eyes. Our competitor in the back. He's here. I'm going to announce him right now, and he will make his case for this topic as well. Just in time. I love it. Mr. Anson Williams and Corin Nemec, they epitomize positivity. Let me bring them in one moment, guys. Just one moment, please. And I will bring in our third competitor right now, guys and gals. And I know he wants to win this thing. You're going to hear it soon. The third competitor tonight is so very inspiring that his heart is always on full display. His purpose in life is absolute, and his intention and goals never go astray. His infectious laugh is the stuff of legend, which makes sense because that word epitomizes who he is. He's one of the all-time greats, but has a purpose beyond showbiz. That being said, he's a competitor, and he's here to win it all. There is no doubt. On television in the 80s and 90s, he dispensed of his competition in many heated bouts. He's a WWE Hall of Famer, a 3-time tag team champion, the first WWF North American heavyweight champion, and he also won a King of the Ring. Everybody had a price. The man definitely had the bling bling. He is, guys and gals, in the Mount Rushmore pro wrestlers of many people's list. Enough said. So welcome a talented, sincere, kind, and multifaceted human being. Last name DiBiase, first name Ted. Ted DiBiase, welcome to the TCAN Celebrity Grand Debate Tournament, my friend.
Brother, I'm going to take you with me everywhere to get an introduction. That's the best introduction I've ever had in my life.
I appreciate that, my friend. And Ted, I know our viewers are watching. I meant every word of it because you have so much And I love that people in this tournament, what I try to do is give you guys topics that can allow the masses to know that you know so much about so many things beyond just your profession. But let's not make any mistakes about it. You want to win this entire tournament as well, the pride and the prize.
Of course. You know, if you're in it to win it, or why be in it at all, right?
I love it. I love it. 13,000 on the line, guys and gals. I will bring in Anson Williams, and I will also bring in, of course, Corin Nemec. And, of course, if they want to rebut, all they have to do is raise their index finger, because Ted DiBiase, guys and gals, is also going to make a case, maybe a different spin, who knows, for the VE Day. It's all over headline that appeared on May 8th, 1945 as the most uplifting news headline ever printed in Ted, in a 3, in a 2, in a U.
And again, and that's, you know, when you first gave this stuff to us, and I looked at that, that was the thing that immediately came to my mind. The greatest headline of all time is that World War II ended. Now, I know that since then we have been in other wars, and there was a world war before World War II. But the last great war where the whole world was involved in it was World War II. So in my opinion, you know, the greatest headline of all time is that this war had ended. And with the end of that war would come, I would say, peace for some time. I'm a very devout and strong Christian as well. And just hey, there will be wars and rumors of wars. I mean, the wars are never going to stop, because man, by his very nature, is selfish. And he's got to fight his selfishness all the time. And selfishness, these wars they're all about selfishness. It's all about somebody wants to, you know, like, yeah, somebody wants to knock off this country, and they want to be number one, and they want to have the most money, and they want to have all the stuff, you know, and that's never going to happen. You know, all we can do is wish for the best, and as men try to better ourselves. And you know, I mean, I was in the wrestling business actively wrestled for 20 years, almost 19. And then I was a manager and a commentator for like 6 years. So overall, like 25 years of my life, not to mention growing up at the wrestling business. Everybody goes, how'd you get in the wrestling business? I said, my dad was a wrestler. And the one thing he didn't want me to do was be a wrestler. Not because of the wrestling, but with all the crap that came along with the wrestling industry. And I guess, gentlemen, I don't know anything about your fields, but I would say that they're you know, all of those things are probably true there too. I mean, it's like, it's, you know, I don't know, you're constantly battling, but I would just, you know, I don't know what else to say except that, you know, as far as headlines go, that's the one for me that was, you know, like for all time, for everybody. Sure. It's over, you know, but like I just said, I don't want to repeat myself, but in reality, it's never really over, as we can tell now. You know, we've been to Vietnam, we've just come back from Afghanistan, and that was done in a very poor way, you know, thanks to the present administration. And I'm not going to get political either, but anyway.
Ted, thank you so much. Corin has a rebuttal.
I do. I mean, it sort of went along with what Ted said there at the end as well. Is really, you know, I mean, I celebrate obviously the end of that war and what that did for the, you know, for the world at the time. But, you know, in reality, I look at this in retrospect, because we're talking about how long was it really before we were in Korea, and then how long was it before we were in Vietnam, and then we were also down in South America meddling in their business in Panama, and then we were meddling business over in Iraq and Iran, you know, putting them against each other, and then we're fighting with Iraq, and then we're fighting with them again, and then we're not, like he said. So the celebration of it, I think, is really historically short-lived, because all of that fighting was for naught. You know what I mean? Nobody learned a lesson from it. Whereas the celebration of walking on the moon leads to a potentially much greater, more beneficial future for humanity, versus the celebrating the end of something that was catastrophic it at least celebrates something that is the beginning of a potential future without this type of headline any longer.
Mr. Anson Williams?
Well, I want to answer a couple of them. First of all, it was the greatest headline in that moment of time. And that moment of time was why my dad, World War II hero, you weren't on, Ted, but he was 2 Purple Hearts, liberated Paris, liberated one of the concentration camps, was on D-Day, Battle of the Bulge.
Wow.
I wouldn't have been born if it wasn't for that headline, because they were ready to send him to Japan. And they dropped the bomb, all controversial, but they didn't send him. He came home. He said, I would have died. He said, I want to make it. But here's my dad. Then he was very pro, oh my God, I'm so proud of World War II. He was so, as things went on for decades, he was so against war because he was lied to then. He was lied to. It was the war to end all wars, and he believed it. And when he finally passed away at 88, he so didn't believe it. He said, the worst of human nature can always raise its head. The worst of human nature can always go back in time. Look where we are now in this country. We are still going back in time. You think we've corrected things? We have not. We have the freedoms, to F it up again. And we're really doing a great job. As far as Walk on the Moon, I agree. At the moment, it was fantastic. And now we're using it. Now we're going up to mine the moon. Now we're going up to profit on the moon. You think these guys are going up there to, oh, look, we're on the moon again? They're mining something.
Well, I mean, there's all kinds of, we can get into the weeds on the moon stuff.
Well, you know what I'm
that's a very interesting subject.
I'm with you. When I saw that landing on, I was there at that moment. At the moment, I thought, oh wow, this is it. This is it. Oh my God. And it changed for a moment. Until the character of business and the character of human beings change. We have a light force, we have a dark force. Until we embrace our light force, and we have that choice, we're going to keep repeating history, bro. We're going to keep repeating history, and that's a shame.
Wow, look at these great comments. Love this first round with the engaging rebuttals. All these men are showing what a great job. You, the viewers, the engine that makes this thing go, as you know, averaging close to 7 figures and sometimes above views on 53 pages, not including my own cumulative. We appreciate everything you guys do. You are the engine that makes this thing go. And that being said, yes, the unsung heroes, extremely true, absolutely sure. Guys, you'll be voting right now because our judges will be voting. So let's bring in Mr. Jason London. And guys and gals, before Jason London gives us his vote, Mr. London, you and I have a show. We'll announce it officially in September. You're a newbie to the network, but you are a veteran when it comes to the arts. Guys and gals, this is going to be one heck of a show that Jason London and I have. It is called London is Burning. Jason London, welcome, my friend.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. Thank you very much. Wow, man.
Before I kick it to you, what a great topic. What great gentlemen. Please let us know who you vote for and why as well, because I'm sure you also, I could see you in the back there. It's hard. I cannot think of anything more challenging than to be a judge right now.
Because, you know, whenever you're hearing them all come from points that make so much sense and sometimes even saying the same thing, because there's at a certain point, what else can you say about certain things? So, you know, I know that Anson was coming from a place of, you know, having like literally not even having the possibility of even being here on planet Earth right now if his father made it out alive. You know, it's a very personal thing to him. And I think Mr. DiBiase is got a great point with the fact that it was something that really, for a moment, was something that affected the entire world. It was like a sign of, and it was the beginning of a time of peace for a minute. And then of course, Corin, I think you knocked it out of the park in a lot of different ways, because I think the whole idea was basically what these kind of topics, how they affect people, not just specific ones or anything like that. But so whenever you kind of really hit it out of the park, this is a hard choice to make, because you're all coming from a great place. I I think that in appreciation for what your father did, Anson, I think that Anson has to get my vote on this one here.
Guys and gals, Mr. Jason London, thank you so much, sir. We will bring you back right after this round, my friend, for the second topic as well. Guys, judges' votes are worth 3 points. And, of course, with the exception of our wildcard voters, the viewers are voting 1 point per vote as well. Will be tallied here in the back, if we can, by Miss Giselle, if she can. And speaking of which, she will come in right now and give us her vote as well. Giselle, who do you vote for in this round and why?
Hi, it's so lovely to have you all here this evening. Mr. Williams, you personalized so much, and it was a fantastic way to begin your argument, but that's really all I received from it, and I didn't hear the impact on the rest of the world, but I do understand how that is so close to you and how that would be a major talking point. Mr. DiBiase, I was a little muddled within your argument. I got a little lost. I couldn't take a lot of notes on it. I'm not exactly sure what your main point was. My 3 points are going to Corin Nemec this round. Excuse me, sorry.
I'll take Corin.
Corin Nemec, guys.
Sounds together, so they sound the same sometimes. I apologize for that.
That's okay. Thank you, judges. Thank you, Giselle. Please tally that in the back as well. Thank you for voting. That is 3 points for Corin Nemec. Guys and gals, 3 points for Anson Williams. And now we turn it over to you, the engine that makes this thing go. Guys, we are live right now. Comment about anything you'd like. They're always positive. Unless you mention the New York Knicks, we're not going there. Please don't bring them up at all tonight, please. I'm in a good mood. Lorraine says, Corin Nemec has my vote. Okay, another point.
Oh, thanks, Lorraine. Lorraine.
There we go. Patrick says, Corin loved your portrayal of Ted Bundy. Anson loved you in Happy Days. And Mr. DiBiase, the best heel character of my childhood, and enthralled that you are such an amazing, an amazing person in real life. All three had some great points, but my vote is with Corin for this round. Another point for Mr. Corin Nemec. And guys, remember, 2 out of 3 advance to round number 2. A star-studded field that has already, we're talking 15 Hall of Famers, 19 award winners. This thing's getting tough at the 11th hour of this first round. As
his love of Ted Bundy makes me worry about the vote.
There you go. But hey, what a great portrayal. What a great portrayal. Cheryl Riley says voting for Mr. Williams. There you go. Voting for Mr. Williams. Jason says Corin is the man. Who are you voting for? Thank you, though, for the support. That's nice. Heather says Corin has my vote. So another point for Corin. Mr. Howard Collado votes Corin. No, Corin up in the lead. Okay. Johnny McKinney votes Ted DiBiase. Ted DiBiase gets a vote for Mr. Johnny McKinney. Thank you so much. Leanne Red says Anson is who I vote for. This is going to be tough. We got 2 more topics. Dakota Benson says Corin Nemec takes my vote this round. Thank you, Dakota. Appreciate that. Guys and gals, they all want to win this thing. This is what a competition is. Competitive camaraderie is what you see before you right now. Jeff says, great points by all 3. The rebuttals made this tough. I have to go with Corin on this one. Thank you, Jeff. We appreciate that. Another one coming down the pike. Let's see. Gus Anselmo says, Ted. Okay. Ted DiBiase gets his vote. All right. Christy Belcher says, oh, my God. What a tough choice. I vote Anson. It was. It really was. I'm glad that I am not voting. I'm still personally myself. I'm not even voting. This was incredibly tough. Julie Hall says, this is what's difficult. All 3 men were great. My vote is going with Ted DiBiase. And Kevin Scarborough concurs. Mr. DiBiase. So 2 straight consecutive votes for Mr. DiBiase. Lauren says, I have to go with Corin. I'm telling you, it's heating up. I have to go with Corin. Julie Red says, my vote goes to Mr. DiBiase. What a debate. What a debate. We'll read the score after round 1 in a moment. Alexander says, going with Corin over here. Okay. Got that. Howard says Anson gets my vote. Great rebuttal with a victory in Normandy. We might not even have a show tonight. Howard Collado concurs with Mr. Anson Williams. Yes. Guys, these are more than Hall of Famers and Emmy Award nominees and Golden Globe nominees. You're looking at people with real stories. And, of course, they're telling them right now. So let's give them our respect as always. And, of course, you guys always will because you're the engine that makes this thing go, as you know. So Julie says, my vote goes to Corin. Corin gets a vote from Julie. Okay. More votes. Let's see. Andrew Red III says, even JYD would vote for DiBiase like I do. Okay, there you go, Andrew Red III. And guys and gals, please let's take a minute to wish all the prayers and condolences to Terry Funk's family and, of course, the Rotundo family as well for losing such great human beings these last few days. It's been a rough week, without question. Julie says from the heart, absolutely, guys and gals, absolutely. And I appreciate how positive you guys are as well. Let's keep going here with some of the votes, guys. This was a great debate, says Bubba Brewer. Very hard, but like I said, passion makes conviction. I vote for Mr. Williams. Man, I love how all these viewers, all of you have different perspectives. I love that. Randy said Ted DiBiase gets my vote, and Lester Cook concurs. So 2 straight votes for Mr. DiBiase. And we have another vote here coming in from Christopher. Says all 3 men did so well in this very exciting and fantastic topic. This was so hard to judge, but my vote goes to Corin. He really gave great details and gave the better argument. I see that. Okay. All right. Karen Price says Ted gets my vote, but my goodness, very hard to vote. Yes. Another vote for Mr. Ted DiBiase. Absolutely, guys and gals. All right. Let's see. And we mean hard to vote. It's hard in a good way, not in a bad way. Like it's hard to sit through a Knicks game. Not like that. That's not good. Let's see what else we have over here. Minnie McNine Red says, I will keep making Knicks jokes, guys. I grew up in Queens. I'm allowed to. My vote is for Corin. He was on point with his topic, according to Minnie McNine Red, and you could see the competitors here looking on intently. Jester says, I vote for Corin. Okay, another vote for Corin. Let's see if we have any more. If I'm missing, guys, I'm going to count this thing down. Lorraine says, Corin has my vote. Such a great topic with great debaters. I concur wholeheartedly. Heather, I did get your vote. Let me see if I missed any votes here, guys, and I'm going to start counting this down for this round. And, of course, this is all cumulative. So the 2 out of 3 that have the most points after 3 rounds will advance to round number 2, which is quite the field of star-studded talent. Oscar winners, Hall of Famers, legends. All right, guys, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. What? Another vote coming in. Joe says, I vote for Corin. I can't get all your votes. I'm going to do my best, though.
Joey Bag of Donuts! Yes!
Joey Bag of Donuts when he's voting for you. You're on a roll. You're on a roll. Corin, but I would like to make friends with a guy named Joey Bag of Donuts, but I don't have it.
Yes!
Nothing to do with my Stargate fandom, but I do pick Corin. Okay, Corin.
I want his lizard. I like his lizard. I vote yes on his lizard.
You see that one? Yeah. Pete says, this was one hell of a debate. My vote is for Ted. Okay. And I think that is it. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We move on to topic number 2 right now, guys and gals. As it stands right now, this is close. Right now we have Corin Nemec with 18 points, Ted DiBiase with 10, and Anson Williams with 8. So it's pretty close. 2 out of 3 move on to round number 2. We just did, of course, uplifting news headlines. If you're just joining us, there are no uplifting news headlines when you talk about the Knicks, but that's another story. So topic number 2 is before you right now, guys and gals. Bands or musicians with a statement. Rock and roll shook up the world in the 50s at the sound of youthful rebellion, but in the early days, it was all about fast cars and having a good time. It wasn't until the mid-60s, around the time protest folkie Bob Dylan went electric, that this quintessentially American musical genre became the sound of change. In time, the country's most subversive counterculture export inspired artists all over the world to rock out in support of all manners of all issues. There have been and continue to be several prominent groups and musicians that have delivered their respective ideologies to the masses. Which of the following spoke to our competitors? Well, guys and gals, Mr. Ted DiBiase will kick things off first, and he'll let us know why Elvis was a singer that made statements through his music. Once he is finished, Mr. Anson Williams will make a case for the Beatles as a band that took a stand and made statements through their music. And once Anson is finished, Corin will make a case for NWA as a band that took a stand and made statements through their music. Mr. DiBiase, are you ready to go?
Sure. Elvis Presley was probably, in my opinion at least, the single most famous entertainer across all genres ever. For a single entertainer, he's a musician, but across all genres, yeah, actors, wrestlers, athletes, you name it, the single most famous, I think, of all time. And if you know him, or if you studied him or anything, the one thing that almost killed him was when his mother died. He and his mother were very, very close, and to be the star that he was, he sang. He was very patriotic. I mean, he got drafted, and he went. He didn't fight it. He went. He served his time and what have you. But I think that as far as his, I don't know. It's hard for me to explain that. It's just. He sang a lot of songs that were very patriotic. I mean, I'm trying to think of the one. Whether it was the Star Spangled Banner, and I don't think he ever sang the Star Spangled Banner, but America the Beautiful. I guess it's not so much about all of his music, but about the way he carried himself, and what, if you studied the man, you came to know what he thought of, and he was very loyal to this country and very supportive of this country. And I mean, you know, I was a Beatles fan too. I was a fan of a lot of rock and roll bands, you know, but I didn't, you know, I don't think that, I don't know, just as an individual, as a musician, I've never seen anybody, and I've seen movies about Elvis. I've read books about him and everything, and I was a fan, but one of the reasons I was such a big fan was it became evident to me that, you know, and largely due to the influence of his mother, that his faith in God was sincere and very real. And that, in my opinion, puts him over the top.
Guys and gals, that was Mr. Ted DiBiase making his case for Mr. Elvis Presley. Anson Williams will be making his case for the Beatles as a band that took a stand and made statements through their music in a 3, in a 2, in a U.
Well, by the way, Elvis is amazing. I actually had the opportunity. God, I'm trying to get on camera. Elvis, it's like the sun's going all over the place.
Is there an earthquake? Are you on? Where are we? Are you on the west coast?
Actually, there was an earthquake last week.
Hurricane Hillary was passed.
Oh, yeah, you bet. You bet. I actually had the opportunity to meet Elvis in Monroe, Louisiana. And I won't get into the whole story, but it was in a parking lot. When it was the Monroe Civic Center, and I was doing a telethon for cerebral palsy at a studio right across the lot. Anyway, and the two shall meet. He was amazing, just amazing and wonderful and charismatic. And the magic continues. There's an it factor with that man that connects with every generation. As far as an effect on society, or like, to me, music, I love bands that they change with the times. They have a way of communicating important ideas, opening windows to things you think about. So that's why I picked the Beatles. I mean, it was between Bob Dylan too. It's very hard to pick one, but I picked the Beatles because it started with Yeah, 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 Stars Standing There, to Imagine, you know, to Winding Road, to Yesterday. They changed with society, and they were able to write the words and the music that go with it. They were artists, and they had hearts, and they exposed their feelings that echoed the world's feelings. And music and melody and words, it has a huge effect on society and movements. Every politician that runs for office, they pick a song because it moves people, for whatever reasons. You know, inspires, motivational. But the Beatles really were original. They were storytellers. They went with society. They had the strength to change their whole character, whatever, to follow their hearts and the songs they wanted to do. Dylan did the same. I mean, Dylan.
You just changed my mind. I mean, we're talking about, I'm talking about the man, and you're talking about their music, and that's what we're supposed to be talking about, is not the man, but the music. So you have my vote.
Thank you. And here's the other, and Dylan, guys, I off the track here. I don't know if it's an 18-minute song that came out called Murder Most Foul. Corin, have you heard it?
What is it? What'd you say?
Murder Most Foul. It's 18 minutes. He spent 30 years writing it.
I know the song, but I've never heard the whole thing, so I'm always asleep by five minutes into it.
But just for this, it wasn't popular because he is the prophet. He is the guy. He took his whole life, it's all there. Murder Most Foul tells you everything right and wrong about us.
It was on his 39th album, guys and gals. Yes, it was on his 39th album. And of course, it was a very, very long song. It was the 10th and final track, guys. You can find it on, again, his studio album, I should say, Rough and Rowdy Ways. You can look that up, man. Absolutely incredible.
It is powerful. I wish people had the time and just to be able to sit down quietly and listen. It's so powerful and brilliant. Anyway, the Beatles, that to me is what's important about music and songwriting. it's moving. It's like opening your mind, opening your hearts, improving society, showing you, opening a window that you might not know what's out there. And the one thing about the Beatles, you've seen them grow their entire short career. And then after that, what they wrote. I mean, Lennon wrote Imagine after that. So anyway, to me, that's the power of music. That's the power of the Beatles and so many others.
And the power, by the way, of all of your backdrops definitely beats any green screen I've seen. I mean, look at these amazing backdrops we're looking at from Corin Nemec, Anson Williams, and Ted DiBiase. I love it. Class personified, guys and gals, across the board, all three men. And now Corin Nemec, guys and gals, will make his case for NWA is a band that took a stand and made statements through their music in a 3, in a 2, in a U.
All right. Well, now, first off, I want to caveat this because the Elvis and the Beatles, their impact on culture and on the youth and on the world was a very, very positive, I think, overall impact. And we lost that. The music industry as a collective, as an industry, as a controlling industry, that was part of what they were also marketing to the youth back then, was this fun, upbeat, good looking, fun music that was really actually positive for a cultural shift. Whereas, my argument here for NWA is not going to be a very positive one, but it is going to show that their impact has been far greater than either Elvis or the Beatles on society, but not in a positive way. I grew up in the 1980s as a graffiti artist, and I hung out with a lot of kids that were associated with gangs in my area in Los Angeles. I was actually very good friends with DJ Speed, who was the DJ for NWA, and had met Eazy-E on occasion, as well as Dr. Dre and not so much Ice Cube. But this is when I was 15 years old, and I was very involved in the hip hop culture and the music and all of that. And there was this transition from the graffiti side of hip hop and the fun party rap and going and break dancing against each other. And that was your battle. The battle rap and the break dancing and the graffiti art. It was a very positive thing that was happening in the inner city at that time that took a dramatic shift when gangster rap became popularized. And knowing that firsthand, because as a teenager, very impressionable and already mixed up in that culture, myself and my close friends that I was all associated with started adopting the imagery and the personality complexes and the attitudes of that gangster rap type of stuff that was going on. And there was a trend factor in gang banging in LA at the time. It was a really trendy thing. I was in high school in the late 80s, and at North Hollywood High, we had almost 5,000 students. We had about 2,300 gang members. Almost half the student body was somehow affiliated with a gang somewhere. It was insane. And so the popularization of that culture and that music and the selling of it to the youth by the machine that is the music industry somewhat feels intentional, because I don't know if that type of music would have organically risen to the top without all of that money and support and machinery behind it. Because at the same time, there was a lot of other very popular rap that was going on that had the same machinery been put behind it. It could have become just as popular as the gangster rap. But now you flash forward to, no one thought that hip hop or rap music was going to last this long. We're talking, how long has the style of Elvis's music lasted? How long with the youth? How long has the style of the Beatles music lasted with the youth? It's still rap music. It's still hip hop. It's still the same basic thing. Whereas the evolution of music in other categories has really branched out and become different things. And hip hop has a massive impact on our youth today. Now they call it murder rap. So you have this adoption by the youth of these mentality that I got to be this gangster, I got to be this killer, I got to be this hardhead. And then they go out in life at 11, 10, 11, 12 years old with this mentality, having no clue that they're becoming a detriment not only to themselves, but their environment around them. And here's the clincher. BlackRock and Vanguard are one of the largest stakeholders in the music business. And guess what? They're also one of the largest stakeholders in private prisons. So why wouldn't they want to promote gangster rap and that type of mentality to the youth in order for them to graduate from high school right into one of their private prison systems?
Mr. Anson Williams.
I so agree with you, Corin. I'm so glad you took the topic with the worst of human nature in music. Because like I was really talking about the positivity.
That's what I'd love to talk about.
But I so admire what you did, because what you said, it's the most important conversation here. What you're into is exactly what's wrong. It's causing so many problems. And when I was like, oh, blue sky. And I'm going, but that's not what's causing the problems. What's causing the problems, same studio, same music studio, and yet they're putting in hate, and they're putting in violence. And it's connecting with we all have a white side, we have a dark side.
Yes, 100%. We all three agree on that.
It's like you can be the good wolf or the bad wolf. Either way we can go. And I'm so glad you brought this up. To me, you win this.
Oh no, thank you.
He's got my vote again.
You know, and on that note, I think
really important.
And on that note, I think that that culturally, we being able to recognize that there's got to be some way to create a shift for the youth, and for us to start entertaining the type of fun that music and the culture of music used to be, without going to a concert and being worried about getting shot up in the parking lot before the concert, or shot up during the concert, or shot up after the concert, because people are shooting people up at the concert. It's just crazy.
100%.
Wow.
100%. Bravo, man. Bravo.
To all three of you, these expressions are what they wrote. I am glad I don't have to vote, but Jason London does. So, Mr. London in the back, please let us know who you vote for and why, good sir.
Well, first of all, I feel like Anson and Ted, they got basically put in a position of it's a clash of the titans when it comes to that. You're talking about, a band and a superstar that it's just arguably you're probably not going to find anybody that's going to say anything that either one of them said was incorrect or couldn't absolutely agree with. And I love what you guys said on both sides was just incredible, and such a so I'm so jealous of you, Anson, that you got to meet Elvis, and even though that was Ted's subject or whatever, that's still cool. But hands down, Anson could not have said it better. As far as I agree with you, Corin, on the tact that you took, and the knowledge that you have, that I know firsthand that he has, and so I know that it's coming from a place almost like Anson with the thing with his father. It's like you're coming from a place of living it and still being close to people and having lost people because of it. So hands down, Corin has my vote.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jason London. Giselle, please tally in the back. And while you do, guys, in a few weeks, one of the greatest boxers of all time will be debating. One of the greatest authors of all time will be debating. And one of the greatest directors, without question, of all time will be debating each other. How about that? That's how we're going to end round number 1 on September the 30th. Yes, it's official. But guys, what you're watching right now is legendary. Comes from the heart. I don't mince words. Let's bring in Giselle. She won't mince any words either. Who do you vote for, Miss Giselle, and why?
I won't mince words. This was amazing to listen to and witness. Mr. DiBiase, I love that you brought up the points of how Elvis was loyal and supportive, and how that came through in his music as well. Mr. Williams, all of the songs that the Beatles had both together and after their careers really brought their ideologies out through their music. Mr. Nemec, the trend factor, the way you went a different route than what most people would have gone with this. I did lack a little bit of what the actual statements were from most of these arguments, but my vote for this round is going to Mr. Williams.
Anson Williams gets 3 points as well. Giselle, please tally that back. And guys, we got one more. Anson will go first for this last topic. And then, of course, Corin will go second and Ted will go third. So one more topic to go, and we'll find out which to advance to round number 2. And now we turn it over to you, the engine that makes this thing go, as you know. So let's see who we got. Sabrina says she votes for Corin. 1 more point for Corin Nemec. Thank you, Sabrina. Another vote, Phil says, I vote for Anson again. All right, thank you. Cheryl Riley says, Elvis is/was the king. My vote goes to Anson. Okay. All right. Jester Gambit, Anson gets my vote. More votes coming down the pike. Katso says, I vote for all except Corky. Oh, look at this. Karen Price gets my vote this time. All right. Controversy in the comment section. No, of course, guys and gals. Everything here, as we love, is all clean and all positive, and that's what we do here. We don't do controversy. We do conversation. Yes. Heather, my vote is for Corin. Well thought out. Thank you, Heather. We appreciate that. Christopher, another tough one to vote on, but my vote goes to Ted. Mr. DiBiase gets a vote from Christopher, and Gus Anselmo concurs and says, I'm voting Ted again. The man knows worldly culture. Thank you, Gus Anselmo, for those comments. Our viewers are the unsung heroes. They are amazing. Lorraine, thank you for your vote. You are voting Corin. Andrew A. Red III gives his vote to Ted DiBiase. Very good debate, though. Absolutely. Thank you. Julie Red says, great job. My vote goes to Corin this round. And thank you, Giselle, for tallying things in the back as well. All right. Jeff Reeder says, great argument, guys. My vote goes to Anson on this round. Man, this is going to be close. I love this. We have a few more guys coming down the pike as well. Let's see. All right. David Lackey, I see your comments, but I don't see a vote. Sheila says, my vote goes to Anson Williams. And Julie says, Corin has my vote. He explained his topic really good. Thank you. John Red, they are bringing it, man. And that's what we have over here. Amazing comments about topics that really matter and are still educating, guys. And that's what we try to tell you guys. I try to dub the term edutainment, not because I want to hear the sound of my voice, but because that's what this is. We're trying to do something new over here, guys. Edutainment is what it's all about. Educating and entertaining all at the same time, simultaneously. Bubba says, huge Elvis fan. Did get it right. Elvis was the best of all time, but Mr. Williams gets my vote. Stating how the Beatles changed with the times. Okay. Randy Pritchard goes for Corin. And Joey, Bag of Donuts, has it again. Corin has my vote. He went to incredible lengths on scene.
I want some donuts now.
Is it okay if I bring my queens out when I pronounce his name? A Bag of Donuts. Jason says Corin has my vote. All right. Christy says Corin blew my mind. I vote Corin. John Red says my vote goes to Anson Williams this round. It's going to be close. 2 out of 3 advance. Julie Hall says, I had no clue who or what NWA was, Corin, but by mentioning names I sort of recognized made me realize what the group was about. Not my genre to be sure, but hey, he made his point. I vote for Corin. Yes, we love that because if you don't know something, you're not voting based on who your favorite band and musician is. Who made the better argument? That's what we're looking for. Absolutely. Megan says, I vote for Corin. Mindy McNine Red said she votes for Corin as well. Okay, 2 straight for Corin. Chet T-Can Superfan says, hands down, I vote Corin. He just blew that debate out of the water with NWA, but he earned it. Going against Elvis and the Beatles was hard. Absolutely, I agree. Karen Price says, I also vote Corin. Okay, guys, I think that's about it. Let me see here.
The Beatles of the 80s.
Kevin says he votes for Joey Bag of Donuts. Look at that. He votes for Joey Bag of
Donuts. Hey, I vote for Joey Bag of Donuts.
A late entrant, perhaps. No. Patrick says my vote is for Corin. Absolutely. Dakota says, no way, man. It's okay, guys. You can argue. Just keep it civil over there. That's all we ask for. Okay, let's see. I think we're done. Mark Juke says Corin yet again, not because of his portrayal of Howard Lauder either, which showed great range.
I love this
all right
guy.
There, guys and gals.
Whoever he is.
Howard Collado says, I vote for Ted. There's something powerful and argumentatively unique about Ted, focusing on Elvis's spirituality. Yeah. Great vote there for Mr. Howard Collado to Ted DiBiase. Tammy says, the music of both Elvis and the Beatles is still relevant today, but Corin gets my vote. Okay, because of this unexpected spin on this one. Love you, Ted and Anson. Got you there. Okay, guys, we're about to finish this round and go to the last round right now. I see if I've missed any votes. If I haven't, you can scream at me later in the comment section if you can. All right, I think that's it. I'm going to count this thing down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, and a 4, and a 3. And then there's a 2, and we can't forget the 1. So, guys, after round number 2, tallying the scores, we have Ted DiBiase with 14 points, Anson Williams with 18 points, Corin Nemec with 39. Guys, we're moving on to round number 2. 2 out of 3 move on to the star-studded field worth $13,000, maybe even 15 by round 2. And, of course, a trip for 2 degrees is on the line. So there's a lot at stake. And as you guys know, we give away money to all of you. A lot of the viewers have won. Julie Hall, a lot of our viewers as well. This prize is going to be huge. But, again, it's about competing against the very best. That's what we're doing here. And we're doing it with a purpose. So, speaking of purpose, giving back. Philanthropy translates from Greek to love of humanity. And the definition has been developed since, with one widely used definition being voluntary action for the public good. The engagement of celebrities in charity works foster the sentiment of compassion in people. Many celebrities can amplify a cause with their fame and inspire the masses to follow in their footsteps when it comes to giving back. It's always nice to know that a human heart can actually be bigger than a bank account. And we all have hearts over here, and these gentlemen know all about that because they give back. Anson Williams will start things off and make a case for why helping the homeless is something that is of the utmost importance. Corin Nemec will make a case for why mentoring abandoned children is something that is of the utmost importance. You can't lose with any of these guys. You can't. And Ted DiBiase will make a case for giving back as the greatest gift we can give ourselves with the word. So, of course, Mr. Anson Williams, if you can proceed forward in a 3, in a 2, in a U.
Well, giving back. I mean, I'm gonna get to the homeless, which is a major concern. But I have a story. When Gary Marshall first hired us on Happy Days years ago, he sat us all down. He explained this. He wanted to be a professor one time, and he went into music. Then he became a comedian. Then he became an actor. Then he became one of the top comedy writers of all time. But he sat us down and he said, guys, you're going to be famous. And there's going to be a light on you don't deserve. Your job is to take that light and understand human nature, understand the needs of society, and take that light and put it on somebody that doesn't have that light that's going to help people. And to this day, Ron Howard, Henry, myself, Don Most, Marion Ross, we live by that. It just is an example of that inspiration of Gary, of creating, of taking your job as a celebrity responsibly for the greater good of everybody else. The Heimlich maneuver wouldn't be here today without Happy Days. Very few people know this story, but my second cousin was Dr. Heimlich. I call him Uncle since I was born, Uncle Hank. And Uncle Hank created the Heimlich maneuver. He was getting very little attention because he's an activist, and there was a lot of controversy with the Red Cross at the time that he was exposing. And they didn't like him. So they literally tried to shut the Heimlich maneuver down. You know, slapping on the back's going to work while it's killing people. But they didn't like him. And he was having a problem getting the word out. We were, when they came to visit us on the set, I didn't have too much to do that day, so I got up early. There was a call that came on the set, a Merv Griffin show, and someone had dropped out the show tonight. And I had done it a couple times before, and they asked if I was available, and basically you'd sing a song, and then he'd interview you, and just like a normal talk show thing. And I'm thinking, like a naive guy, oh, cool, I'll get on the show, and we'll bring Hank on, and we'll talk about the Heimlich maneuver like it's impossible. But if Gary Marshall hadn't did Happy Days, and all these incredible talents in every area weren't involved, if Gary hadn't sat us down to set our sights straight on giving before taking, what followed would not have happened. So Hank and I went down to the Merv Griffin show, and I'll cry talking about this, serious. And I said, is Merv Griffin available? Of course he's not. I rehearsed the song, great. I tried, can I see Merv? No, he's not available. The producer comes in, and just to figure out what you're going to talk about. I tried to sell the Heimlich maneuver. And they said, no, it's not vetted, we can't talk about that. So he just wanted to talk about cute stuff. So, all right, so we tried. They put Henry in the audience, and the show started. I don't think I was first out. I think maybe I was second out or so. So I sing the song, and then they take me over to the chair next to Merv Griffin. Well, there's a commercial. And so I had about 90 seconds to do an elevator pitch. And I talked about the Heimlich maneuver. And Merv had heard about it. And it intrigued him. The lights came up. He says to the audience, I just heard something interesting. Is there Dr. Heimlich in the audience? He stood Dr. Heimlich up. He interviewed him from there. He brought him on the stage, did the Heimlich maneuver on Merv. First national television. Boom. However, what people don't realize, Dick Carson, Johnny Carson's brother, directed the show. He called his brother Johnny saying, this is important, get this guy on. 3 weeks later, Dr. Heimlich was on Johnny Carson, did the maneuver on him, and forget about it. It blew up around the world. Now, that all came from the Happy Day show. Everybody was part of it. And to continue, Henry Winkler, he has done so much for so many people quietly. Ron Howard, quietly. Marion Ross, quietly. Gary Marshall inspired us to be givers, to take that light and shine it. And I wish more celebrities today would do the quiet thing. Shine their light on someone that needs the light that's doing great things. And getting back to the homeless, I'm going to publicly support Doors of Change, which is in San Diego. It's this charity that takes homeless kids off the street into a protective environment through the arts, through music, with therapists, finding the best in them and bringing them back into life. These kids now become lawyers, they become teachers, they become, because of the love and commitment of Doors of Change. It's September 9th, I'm going to be down in San Diego to MC the event for them. This isn't like a challenge or competitiveness. This is important. Doors of Change, go to doorsofchange.com and contribute to this organization. It's real. 99% goes to these children. You're getting them off the street and you're giving them lives. But again, I want to talk to every celebrity. I'm Corin, you all do this too. You got to take a platform and you're selfless, and you got to do great things with it. You got to shine the light on people that aren't getting it, that are doing the gifts of God for other people.
Anson Williams, thank you guys. Doorsofchangeagain.com. Anson, thank you so much. This was the last topic. We're going to find out who wins this thing, but Corin Nemec will go next, guys and gals. Of course, this topic is all about giving, guys, and giving back and doing what we can to give back. Mr. Corin Nemec will make a case for why mentoring abandoned children is something that is of the utmost importance in a 3, in a 2, in a U.
Yeah, first I want to agree that this Doors of Change, I mean, it goes right along with what my topic is, apparently, especially when it comes to the homeless youth. I think obviously any of the whole entire homeless situation, especially veterans, the PTSD and all of this is, there is an outrage that so much money is wasted and sent into all kinds of programs or overseas or any other place except for here to help those who need it most. So this what Anson is doing, it's above and beyond anything that I'm involved in at this point in time, on that level. In terms of just arguing the subject matter, obviously my direct responsibility in this subject is being a father to my son, obviously to my daughter as well, and being able to, be the best father that I can be to both of them. And in the meantime, hopefully service the rest of the public accordingly by being a good person. But that said, on to the argument, I think that if you can, I know from being from a broken family myself, my mom and dad split up when I was 1.5 years old, and it was very difficult growing up. My mom was an artist, and as an artist, you do tend to, as you're trying to become successful, especially as a single mother of two kids, it was difficult for all of us growing up, skirting the edges of poverty for much of my youth, which was a great education in some respects, but also it left me to understand that there's a huge gap there that for me was tough to fill, because I didn't know, who I should be looking up to or what type of personality I should be trying to emulate. And so, I gravitated towards trying to, look up to the tough guy, the one that could, handle his own and stand for himself, and, and not necessarily the smartest guy. Right. So I think that when you have kids that are in fragile situations as it is, if there is some type of mentorship program that is safe and sound and productive for them, I do think that it's absolutely essential to try and arrest the downward spiral of an out of control youth who doesn't have any guidance. because without any guidance, your homelessness doesn't just start at at a young age. It ends at an old age, and there's no change in between. And so I do think that the mentoring of we say abandoned youth. I don't know if you're referring to ones that need to be adopted. I think adoption is a very important factor. I think that with getting good homes, especially, and because this whole area, this whole subject is very touchy, because at the same time promoting wanting people to mentor the youth, I'm also very concerned of what type of people gravitate towards mentorships of the youth, because that's what also attracts the wrong kind of person to be around young people. So there's a double-edged sword in there, but I do think that mentoring of the youth is senior in order to arrest that downward spiral that will lead to a potentially devastating life outcome at a very young age.
Mr. Anson Williams.
I think everything Corin said is correct, but I'm a doer. It's like we know the problems. It's like take your platform and do it. Do something about it. Complete it. Get it done. We know the problems, and they're true, but let's fix them. That's why Doors of Change. They're fixing them. Highland Moon is out there because Henry and you too, Corin. You've completed things. You've used your platform, and you got it done. And that's what I'm saying. I mean, celebrities, visible people, whatever, they have a platform to get it done. We got to be selfless, and we got to get outside ourselves, and we got to shine the light on people that are doing the hard job and get it done for them.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. Couldn't agree more.
Corin and Anson, guys and gals, yes. And before I turn over to Ted, guys, this is why I conceptualize topics like this, because this needs to be discussed. Matters. We'll have moments of levity like you've seen tonight. We'll have a great old time, good old-fashioned fun. We're also going to talk about things that matter. And, of course, when it comes to philanthropy, these three men are no strangers. There's no doubt. Mr. Ted DiBiase right now will go and finish this entire thing out with his topic, of course, of giving back. He will make a case for giving back as the greatest gift we can give ourselves through the word, of course. Mr. Ted DiBiase, the floor is yours in 3, 2, you.
Well, guys, I was raised in a Christian home. I was a very devout Christian when I was very young. And as I grew along the way, my mother married Mike DiBiase when I was 5. He was not my biological father. Come from an Italian background, was a national amateur wrestling champion at amateur wrestling, and then went on to Nebraska, led her there 8 times, 4 years in football, 4 in wrestling, 3 years conference champion, but came from a very poor Italian family. And I lost him when I was 15. I watched my mother sink into alcoholism. But I stayed on course. I ended up getting a scholarship to go to a West Texas State and play football, blah, 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 became a wrestler. But it was in 1992 when I very nearly got a divorce because I had become like, so many rock stars, so to speak, on the road, town, next show, next good night out. And in front of about 1,500 kids at an event in Chicago in 1992, I ran forward when there was an altar call given. I beat every kid. There was 15,000 teenagers in this place, and they all recognized me. And I beat them all to the front, fell on my face, cried like a baby. Never been the same since. But all of that to say this, I believe that God allowed me to have the celebrity that I've had because he knew one day he would get my attention, and then I would take that celebrity, instead of when people point to me, I point them to him. In my opinion, there's no greater need for anybody than the need for Jesus Christ in their life. I'm an devout Christian, and you know what? If you don't know Jesus, and guess what, you're not going to heaven. He's the only way. And so that's what I promote. I started a ministry, Heart of David Ministry. And so like this has been going on for some 20 years now. And part of that is, and giving. It's not just, I mean, people need food. They need, but they need people to come, you can't help anybody unless you come alongside them and walk life with them. And, when you start doing that, and when you start promoting programs that do that same thing, then you're going to see some results. And that's been my heart's desire. And I guess, it's a need that's never going to go away, and as long as I would say that to anybody that's a celebrity, take your celebrity and more than, lavish yourself with things, take what you've been given as a gift and try to give it back in whatever way God would have you give it back.
Mr. Ted DiBiase and Anson with a rebuttal.
No, not a rebuttal. I mean, I think it's amazing. No, that he has a church in Yeshua Yamashiach, which is his name, Aramaic Hebrew. I love that. I also love Jewish people that are doing amazing things. I love Buddhist people that do amazing things. I think it's a combination of individuality of where you go. I think that, it's not a one-stop shop, sir. I mean, and I appreciate what you're doing, but there's a lot of people in many other cultures doing tremendous things. It's not a one-stop shop, and I have to go against that.
Well,
I'm Jewish. Henry Winkler's Jewish. Okay, we're all right, and we've done amazing things. And I have so many Christians friends who've done amazing things. Don't define it to one person. It's not one person. It's individual, and being one thing doesn't make you right or wrong. As long as whatever makes you the best you can be, to give before you get, to care about other people, that's my religion.
I agree with that. I just happen to be a Christian.
That's good. And I respect that.
Yeah.
I like what Dakota said here. Everybody wins in this round, guys, and so do you. All of you win as well, because you're looking at three really positive, sincere people that I've gotten to know, and they stand for something from their heart. I know them as people. I know their hearts, and they are wonderful human beings. And we turn it over to our judges because that's it. All three topics have been discussed. Two will advance to round number two. One will be eliminated. We'll find out what happens now. Let's bring in Mr. Jason London and see who he votes for and why.
This is unfair. Everybody was brilliant. I mean, everybody has such a unique point of view, yet still sort of shares the same overall desire for being good to other people and helping other people. And it's hard to put down into one thing. It's great to have the faith that Mr. DiBiase has, and the conviction that he has on that, and what it helps him do to other people. And I've seen it change lives, and I've experienced that myself, and so I can relate to that. And with Anson, brother, you got a little hijacked by gremlins on your Wi-Fi there for a little while. I missed about half of what you were able to say, but I loved what I was able to get. I don't know if anybody else experienced that or not, but everybody else was okay. Yours was glitching really bad, so it was hard, but I really loved what you said. And Corin, I think that you always sort of really bring things, you bring a lot of things into a topic that are very relatable to the topic, and that perhaps other people haven't even thought about there. And so, this is as hard as it gets as far as vote goes for me, because I wish we could just split it up into 1 point each. But I'm going to go with Corin on this one.
Corin gets 3 points from Mr. Jason London. Jason, thank you so much. An incredible judge, an incredible human being, a writer, a storyteller, and someone who's going to be such a cool addition on this network, because Jason is one of the sweetest people around. And I know Corin can concur. Corin concurs. Corin concurs. Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you so much, my friend.
Love you guys too.
Love you too, man. Thank you so much. Guys, Jason London is really the real deal as a human being. Again, a human being that also cares about people. What you see is what you get off camera and in front of the camera. And that's what you're seeing from these three gentlemen as well. Giselle, who will you be voting for and why?
This is one of those topics where it feels like whoever you don't vote for is going to be upset because they're all three such wonderful investments that we need in our people. My
Spit it out. Come on.
My vote is going to Corin this time because of his point about intercepting the people in the middle of change and using that to change so they didn't continue in the downward spiral.
Thank you, Giselle. Another wonderful storyteller and, of course, fight choreographer and stage combat. She's amazing. Thank you for your votes. And now, guys, that's it. We turn it over to you, and we're going to find out who wins this thing in about 2 minutes. There we go. Looking at the time. Yeah, 2 minutes or so. All right, time to vote, Dakota says. Let's see who you guys are voting for and why, and we will tally things up and find out. Kevin Scarborough with an early vote. Ted DiBiase gets our vote. Okay. Research kidney disease awareness. By the way, your son, God bless your son, Kevin. We really appreciate him. Little Anthony, prayers to him as well. He's a fighter. Bubba Brewer says, I'm sorry this topic was strong. Don't be sorry. You voted for all three, so it's a tie. Okay, that's a wash. Julie Kevin says, I have to go with Ted on this one. Okay, so another vote there for Mr. Ted DiBiase, guys and gals. More votes coming down the pike. Remember, we do have one more shot, only available after round one for anyone who's been eliminated to come back into round two. So not all is lost, but that will only be available after round one. Let's see who else we have. Randy Pritchard says, Ted DiBiase gets my vote. Spoke to my heart. That is from Randy Pritchard. Katso says, I vote 100 times for Anson, 50 times for Ted, and 1 time for Corky. Right there. Katso Nemec, I got to get to know you. All right there. So, I will take that 1,000 and reduce it by 999. Anson gets a vote, though. Anson does get your vote. Lorraine says, I vote for Corin. Okay. And Mark Jukes concurs and says, Corin hands down. Total humanitarian. Playing Charlton Heston's son. Zero impact on my decision, though. Corin. Okay. Christopher Farnan is voting. Where to even begin to make a choice? My vote goes for Ted, and Lester Cook concurs and also votes for Ted. Sheila Chatelaine joining us. Thank you, Sheila. We appreciate you. Corin has my vote. Thank you, Mrs. Chatelaine. Dakota says, Ted takes my final vote with that very moving speech. You could literally feel his words, and it truly moved me. Amazing job, my friend. Absolutely amazing. Thank you, Dakota Benson, for voting as well. Chad says, I have to vote for Corin. His debates have been on fire tonight and on point from Chad, TKN. Hey, Chad. There you go. John says, I'm going to give my vote to Ted in this final round. Ted gets another vote from John Red. Corin has my vote. Guys, you're going to see two individuals perhaps reacting rather large when they win because this is a big deal over here, guys. Grand debate tournament here. Who wins? Let's find out. Ian Hernandez says, all three men did amazing, but I vote for Ted. Powerful sentiments and his personal conviction is contagious. Ian Hernandez votes for Ted DiBiase. And Joey Bag of Donuts concurs. Ted DiBiase on this one. He betrayed you, Corin.
I lost my bag of donuts.
I'm not a math major, but 2 out of 3, 66% ain't bad. Kirsty says, left to see the heart from all. I vote Corin again. Okay. Gus says, clean sweep. I vote for the $1 Million Man 3 times in a row. He gets my vote 3 rounds in a row. Thank you, Gus Anselmo. Andrew Red said, Ted DiBiase for the sweep for me as well. Another vote for Mr. DiBiase. Patrick says, bravo to all 3 men. My vote is for Corin for this round. Yes, you lost your bag of donuts. Okay, good to know. More. I think we're done. And Miranda, yes, amazing words. I agree. She votes for Ted on this one. Ted gets Miranda's vote. Thank you very much. Blake says Corin Fire gets my vote. Okay. I think we're about to count this thing down. Tammy Anson, nice to hear. Gary was such a great mentor to the cast. My vote goes to Ted, though. Okay, thank you, Tammy, for your vote as well. Yeah, my mentor Richard Donner loved your mentor, Gary Marshall. Anson Williams definitely loved him, was a very big fan of Gary Marshall's. Jason says Corin is getting my vote. Okay. And Cheryl says my vote goes to Ted on this one. Megan votes Corin. Guys, we're out of here in about 1 minute right now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Karen, I got your vote just now. Ted, get your vote. Okay. Guys and gals, with a final score of 54 points, Corin Nemec will advance to round 2 of the T-Kent Celebrity Grand Debate Tournament, and joining him will be Ted DiBiase with 30 points as he moves on to round number 2 of this exclusive star-studded field where we talk about topics that matter, but everybody does want to win because it's a great old competition. Thank you so much, guys and gals and pals, for enjoying this video and watching it. If you love the content, if you're enjoying it, please like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to our channel, and make sure that you know that we know that the new network is on the rise. Thank you for being who you are.